Hi everyone, another GIMP video here. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this program. Again, it is not the easiest one to use, especially because you're not too familiar with it. So, this video's topic is concerned upon deleting more specific parts of an image, right? So, if we're doing our Mondrian project, rectangles are great, right? But not anything we would want to select from an image is a rectangle. So this video will get you started on doing that. So if you notice, our birds look a little bigger than they used to. And that's because I zoomed in. On the bottom left portion of the screen, there's a zoom counter. And this will tell you how far zoomed in you are. So if you click on it, you can zoom further in and further out. So take for an example 100%. Look how big the birds are. And this is actually how large the image actually is. And you can go up and down with the scroll bars to go back and forth. So if you come back down to 12.5%, now the thing gets nice and small. But let's go back into 33%. I had it at. That was a nice working size. Another way to zoom in and out is on PC, you hold down Control, and you use the scroll wheel of your mouse to zoom in on the image, and it should zoom in on where your mouse is located. On a Mac, you can use the Command key and the scroll wheel or the touchpad on your mouse to scroll in and out. That's another option for scrolling, and it does more precise scrolling. So that's a good way of doing things. Now, to delete a better part of an image, we need something besides a rectangle. And the first thing you should think about using is the eraser tool. So the eraser tool looks like one of those old rubber erasers, and you can click on it, and you could play around with the opacity. The opacity is how much color the eraser will get rid of with each stroke. So if the opacity is 100 and I erase, it gets rid of all the color. If the opacity is lower, say 32, it gets rid of a little bit of the color. Now I'm just going to undo those two things. And that's useful. When you have the opacity down, you can touch things up. When you have the opacity up, you can get rid of large portions of colors that you don't want. The other thing you could change is the size of the eraser. So if we go way up, say to 101, you see I erase more with each stroke. Where if I go down, I would erase less with each stroke. So I'm going to undo that again. So one way of using this tool is if you want to get rid of specific parts of the image of this image, like say for example around the edges of the bird, what we could do is we could zoom in towards the edge, get really, really close so we can be more exact, right? Now our eraser tool looks really big, so maybe we'll cut down the size of our eraser tool, right? Well, that's good. That'll be easier to work with. And we'll up the opacity, because I want to get rid of a good bit of it. And we'll come right around the edge of the bird, right? And this will allow us to get nice and close with the colors. Now, if you're more advanced at GIMP or Photoshop, or if you've done any of this before, you might think this is kind of a naive way of doing it, but it's a good start. And we'll get into more advanced ways of doing this as we go through the videos, but here's a good place to start. And what the eraser tool also will allow you to do is to kind of touch up the edges of an image so it doesn't look like such a hard edge. So if we zoom out a little bit, now that looks kind of like hard and nothing really blends. So if we zoom back in, what the eraser tool will allow us to do, and if we cut this opacity down a good bit, we can come in here and just kind of blend these colors a little bit. Make the lines a little softer as I come down, and which will allow us to kind of make the image look a little more natural, because bad Photoshop generally looks like very hard lines. Better Photoshop has a little more softness in it. So that looks a little better than it did before. One tip with the eraser is if you're going to erase things, do it in short bursts. So don't be like going wild like this, because if you mess up, you can always undo it. Edit, undo, eraser, and undo it. But if you do a whole lot of work with one click and then say you get rid of all of this stuff and you do a really good job, and you accidentally cut across your bird, when you undo it, everything goes away. So you want to work in short bursts like this, where in case you mess up and you undo it, you only get rid of the last stroke that you made. Hope that helps. See you at the next video.